Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Got a fun fantasy fight to talk about. Always have a good time doing these. Let's talk about Prime BJ Penn versus Conor McGregor. Who's the better lightweight fighter if these guys were to meet in the cage at their peak, at their prime? Not going to dive into big detail on their careers. I'm just going to jump right into their skill sets and how they match up. So let's get into it. BJ Penn, of course, is an MMA legend. He's a two-time division champ, lightweight and welterweight. He's a grappling phenom. Well, in his prime he was. It takes roughly 10 years to earn your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He did it in 3. And I could dive a lot deeper into why BJ Penn was nicknamed the Prodigy and his BJJ career, some of the things he's done. Strictly MMA speaking, BJ Penn had really tight boxing. He had KO power. Penn's top control was freaking awesome. He was great at controlling you, period. And if Penn got your back, it was a wrap. His dexterity was off the charts. Pound for pound, one of the best chins in MMA. He had a killer instinct. Just a really physically gifted, talented fighter. You could say some of the same things for Conor McGregor. McGregor is very athletic. He's fast. He has awesome reflexes. I think his reflexes are part of what makes him really great. Precise striker, knockout power. I think McGregor can take a punch, good chin. Not like a Nate or Nick Diaz chin or BJ Penn, but Conor could take a shot. We saw that in a Khabib fight. That punch would have pretty much KO'd almost anybody. Contrary to popular belief, Conor McGregor does have a ground game. You can't be elite at that level and not have any ground skills. Eddie Bravo has talked about McGregor's ground game. He said that he's legit. He's seen it with his own 2 eyes. And I'd take Eddie Bravo's word over anybody's, at least as far as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And in some of Conor's fights, you do see he does have ground skills. Like when he fought Nate Diaz the first time, in the first round, he swept him, had him stacked up briefly. In the Max Holloway fight, if I recall, a good portion of that fight was on the ground. He controlled Max. And yes, Max was young. He's a way better fighter now. Conor's a great fighter, of course, the first 2-time active champ, featherweight and lightweight. Alright, so now all that's out the way, how does Conor McGregor's skills stack up to Prime BJ Penn? I'm going to cut to the chase and say that Prime Penn beats Conor McGregor. They say styles make fights, and I think that a Prime Penn is a bad matchup for Conor. Why do I say that? Well, McGregor does have awesome stand-up. He's got the knockout power, very precise, great timing, all that jazz. But the thing is with Penn is that he was also very dangerous standing, had KO power himself, and like I touched on before, granite chin. Like a pound for pound chin. So the fact that he can take such a big shot and keep coming at you and not be phased, that's bad news for a guy like Conor. Because the standing gap to me isn't as big as the ground gap between them. And I do think that BJ Penn in his prime had a far superior ground game to Conor McGregor. I think Penn would have more than held his own against Conor on the feet. And if things got a little too dicey, the ground is always an option, and I would think that he would dominate Conor on the ground. But here's another catch to that. McGregor's kind of difficult to take down, and Penn wasn't known to have the best takedowns. He had good takedowns, but he didn't shoot a double like GSP or Matt Hughes. So it is possible that Prime Penn couldn't really get Conor down easily. That would be a problem, but I think eventually he would. And once both of them are on the mat, I can see Penn controlling McGregor on the floor, peppering him up with some shots to soften him up, McGregor maybe exposing his back, similar to the first Nate Diaz fight, and then Penn getting the rear naked choke. I really believe that probably would have happened if these guys met in their prime. Conor gets stuff about his cardio. I don't really think his cardio is that bad. It is one of his weaknesses, but it's not like Penn really pushed the pace that hard in his fights back in the day. Penn wasn't known to have a super gas tank, and he kind of fought at his pace, like a methodical manner. So I don't think cardio would be a factor. What would give Penn the major edge in his fight would be his chin, the ability to take a strike and a punch, and the ground game. As good as Conor is, as hard as he could strike, at 155, I don't see him knocking out a Prime Penn. But that's just me. And more than likely, eventually he would have got taken down, and a good chance he gets submitted. But of course, these are just my opinions. Guys, feel free to talk about this fantasy fight. Prime Penn versus Conor McGregor. Who would have won this fight at 155 and why? Thanks for watching the video. Feel free to drop any requests for fantasy fights, any ideas for the channel to improve it. I welcome the input. Thanks for the support, the subs, the likes, the shares. It really helps the channel grow. And until the next segment, take care.